There's a force in this world more powerful than money, more enduring than fame, more magnetic than beauty. It's not seen, but it's felt. It doesn't speak, but it commands. It's invisible, yet it shapes destinies. That force is success consciousness. Success does not chase. Success does not beg. Success is not random. It responds. It answers a frequency. It aligns itself with a certain kind of mind, a certain kind of soul, a soul that has decided with every cell in its being to become a magnet for greatness. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they repel success. They carry doubt like a badge. They worship fear. They whisper dreams, but scream limitations. They are tuned into the wrong frequency, the frequency of excuses, not results, of hesitation, not action, of lack, not abundance. But you're not here to live like most people. You're not here to blend in. You were born with the power to attract anything your mind can believe and your heart can commit to. Because that's the truth they never taught in school. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. You attract what you believe. You attract what you expect. Look around at the greats. They were not born into certainty. They created it. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times and still burned with belief. Walt Disney was rejected by 300 banks before anyone saw his vision. Henry Ford went bankrupt before building the company that changed history. What made them different? They didn't wait for success. They became it. They cultivated the inner world that success could not ignore. You don't wait for opportunity. You become the person opportunity is drawn to. You don't chase wealth. You become valuable. You don't beg for influence. You radiate clarity and conviction until the world takes notice. This is the law of magnetism, a universal law, immutable, unbreakable. You become what you think about most. You attract what you radiate. Energy doesn't lie. So if you're stuck, it's not about working harder. It's about tuning your inner signal, because your results are not just reflections of effort. They're reflections of alignment. Alignment with belief, alignment with purpose, alignment with the highest version of who you truly are. Ask yourself, what am I really broadcasting to the world? Fear or faith, doubt or determination, chaos or clarity? Because the world listens, the universe listens, it responds, not to your desires, but to your dominant state. And that's why mindset is not a game. It's the foundation of everything. A mindset is your internal thermostat. Set it to average and life will comply. Set it to greatness, and those storms will come. You'll rise again and again until you reach what others only dream of. When you master your mindset, you don't force success. You attract it like gravity. You don't beg for people's respect. You walk into rooms and your presence demands it. But let's get real. You're going to face resistance. You're going to be underestimated, misunderstood, even mocked. That's proof that you're walking the path most never dare to try. That's the refining fire. Every legend walked through it. Lincoln battled depression while holding a nation together. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. But they all came back. Not because the world gave them permission, but because they had already given it to themselves. That's the switch. That's the power. You stop looking outward for validation. You stop asking if you're ready. You stop negotiating with fear. You make a decision. And then you build the discipline to live in harmony with that decision. Because clarity is a magnet. Purpose is a magnet. Conviction is a magnet. The world is drawn to people who know who they are and where they're going. So many wander through life with a foggy mind, no vision, no standards, just reaction after reaction. But if you can see your future clearly, if you can describe it with precision, if you feel it in your bones every morning before the world even wakes up, then you are already ahead of 99% of the population. Success does not resist the man or woman who is obsessed with their vision. It finds its way to them through storms, setbacks, and silence. Because there's something electric about a person who's all in, something unstoppable about a soul that refuses to negotiate their destiny. You become a magnet when you move with clarity. You become a magnet when your actions align with your words. You become a magnet when your standards rise above your circumstances. And that's when the shift happens. That's when people start calling you lucky, not realizing the inner war you fought to get here. The years of invisible effort, the nights no one saw, the sacrifices no one thanked you for. They'll see the glow, but not the grind, the spotlight, but not the solitude. But you'll know that you didn't stumble into this life. You built it, you attracted it, you earned it by becoming the version of yourself that success could no longer ignore. And that's what it takes. Not just vision, but vibrational alignment. Not just desire, but discipline. Not just hope, but habit. Because here's the truth. The magnetic pull of success is only felt by those who carry certainty. Not arrogance, not blind optimism, but earned certainty, the kind that comes from keeping your word day after day, from showing up when motivation dies, from doing the work when no one's watching. That's the soil where belief grows roots. That's the ground where power is planted. You can't fake that kind of energy. You live it. You become it. And when you do, everything changes. You see, the mind is not just a place of thought. It's a factory. Every belief you hold is a blueprint. Every emotion, a chemical. Every repeated thought is a hammer shaping your reality. So if your mind is building your future, what are you handing it to build with? Doubt, distraction, comparison, fear of judgment? That's not the material of success. That's the debris of mediocrity. A success magnet does not absorb the opinions of the crowd. It radiates the intention of the creator, the architect of their destiny. You don't attract success by trying to be liked. You attract it by being authentic, unapologetically, unshakably you. Because people follow those who know who they are. They follow certainty, confidence, clarity. Think of the greats. Did Muhammad Ali wait for the world to believe he was the greatest? No, he declared it long before anyone saw it. He believed it, breathed it, embodied it, and the world caught up. Did Elon Musk wait for someone to fund his mission to Mars? Number, he burned the boats, bet everything, and built rockets from scratch because his vision burned louder than the noise around him. And you don't need permission. You don't need a cheer squad. What you need is to decide with zero hesitation that you are the force. You are the spark. You are the magnet. Because clarity breeds action. And action repeated with intensity becomes identity. And once you become the kind of person who executes no matter what, who follows through even on hard days, you start to move different. Your walk has purpose, your eyes have fire, your voice has gravity, and the world feels it. This isn't ego. This is alignment. This is when your inner world and your outer actions speak the same language, and success responds like iron to a magnet. But let's talk discipline, the bridge between dream and reality. Too many wait for motivation to strike as if success is a mood. But the magnet doesn't wait for the wind to blow. It creates force from within. Discipline is the daily proof that you meant what you said. It is self-respect in action. It is desire made visible. Discipline is when you choose your future over your feelings. Every time you rise when it's hard, every time you show up without applause, every time you say no to the distraction and yes to your mission, you are rewiring your identity. You're no longer someone who wants success. You're someone who lives success, breathes it, moves through life as if your future is already written, and you're simply walking it out. You become magnetic because your energy screams consistency, and in a world of flakes, that alone makes you rare. But don't confuse consistency with perfection. You will fall. You will fail. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is the refiner. It is the sandpaper that shapes your sharpest edge. Look at Lincoln. 26 political defeats, 26 factorial. And still he rose to become one of the most revered leaders in history. Why? Because he kept moving forward. Progress is power. Movement is momentum. You don't attract success by being flawless. You attract it by being relentless, by showing life that you won't be moved by fear, that you won't bow to doubt, that your setbacks are setups for stronger comebacks. Resilience is a frequency. And when you vibrate with resilience, unbreakable, untouchable, undaunted, The world opens doors for you that others can't even see. The universe conspires for those who refuse to fold. But don't stop at action. There is another layer to this magnetism, one most overlooked. Gratitude, not just a feel-good practice, not just a morning ritual. Gratitude is a vibration, a frequency that tells the universe, I am already aligned with abundance. When you are deeply grateful, and not just for what you have, but for who you are becoming, you send out a signal that success cannot ignore. Because a grateful heart is a powerful heart, and a powerful heart attracts more reasons to be grateful. Gratitude is the accelerator. It turns what you have into enough, and from that energy, you create more. Not from lack, not from desperation, from overflow. You move differently when you're grateful. You're not chasing to fill a void. You're building because you're already full. That's when you become dangerous. That's when you move with humility and fire, calm and confidence. That's when your energy becomes so grounded, so certain, that even the storms of life start to bend around you instead of breaking you. Because when you combine discipline with vision, gratitude with action, and resilience with belief, you don't just attract success. You become unstoppable. You become the storm that shapes the landscape. You become the voice that shifts the room. You become the leader others look to when everything around them is falling apart, and none of it comes from luck. It comes from alignment. A mind fixed on the target, a soul tuned into abundance, a heart that beats with unshakable resolve. That's what a success magnet looks like. That's what you were built to become. And if the world hasn't recognized it yet, it doesn't matter, because success is not about recognition. It's about realization. You realize who you are. You realize your power. You realize that you are the cause, not the effect. You are the spark, not the smoke. You are the mountain, not the wind. And from that moment on, nothing can stop you. And now that you know who you are, what will you do with that power? Because success doesn't respond to potential. It responds to execution. The world is filled with brilliant minds sitting in neutral, gifted individuals waiting for the stars to align. But the truth is, alignment doesn't come from the sky. It comes from the soul. You don't wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. You act while others analyze. You move while others measure. You build while others boast. That's the real separator. Not IQ, not background, not even luck. It's movement, relentless, intentional, focused action. A success magnet does not just think, they do. They turn ideas into blueprints and blueprints into buildings. They understand that every vision must pass through a valley of resistance. Every dream must be backed by sweat. Every goal requires an exchange: time, effort, energy, and sacrifice. You don't get something for nothing, but when you pay the price with full faith, the reward multiplies. This is the truth. The marketplace pays you for value, not for effort. Effort is your responsibility. Value is your return. So raise your value. Read when others scroll, write when others sleep, speak when others hesitate, build when others delay. Be the one who gets obsessed with mastery, not for applause, but because excellence is magnetic. When you walk into the room and your work speaks louder than your words, people listen. Opportunities lean in, doors crack open, because people can feel when you're not just interested, but committed. And that's the shift. From dabbling to domination, from playing to producing, from wishing to working like it's already yours. You don't attract success with lukewarm dreams. You attract it with white-hot obsession. You want to become a magnet, then stop flirting with greatness and marry the process. You have to go all in on your vision, all in on your discipline, all in on your standards, because success is not part-time. It's not convenient. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It responds to those who refuse to live another day in misalignment. And what is alignment, really? It's when your vision, your values, and your actions all move in the same direction, with zero hesitation. It's when your thoughts, words, and habits form a chain no setback can break. That's when the real magnetism begins. Not the shallow kind that fades when trends shift, not the surface-level kind that only lasts when things are easy, but the deep-rooted, unshakable kind of success that grows even in drought. That's the legacy-level magnetism. And yes, it requires solitude. It requires silence. It requires becoming so comfortable in your own presence that the world's noise becomes irrelevant. Because when you're truly aligned, you don't need to convince anyone. Your life becomes the proof. You don't beg people to believe in you. Your results do the talking. You don't ask if it's working. You know it is because the work is in motion. Remember, the world may resist you at first. The world resists change, and you are the change. The world resists greatness because it exposes mediocrity. The world resists boldness because it shatters comfort. But your job is not to shrink to fit in. Your job is to rise, to expand, to inspire, to awaken. And nothing awakens the human spirit like watching someone fully own their destiny. So let them doubt you. Let them gossip. Let them misunderstand your silence, your hunger, your tunnel vision. Because while they talk, you're building. While they guess, you're gaining. While they question, you're becoming. Becoming something they can't ignore. Becoming someone they can't define. Not because you need their validation, but because your energy is undeniable. Because you've tuned yourself to a higher signal. And success can't help but follow that frequency. Think of Carnegie. Think of Rockefeller. Think of Soichiro Honda, who was rejected by Toyota and spent years in poverty before building a global empire. Every single one of them was told they were crazy. Every single one of them was doubted. And every single one of them became a magnet by tuning out the noise and tuning into the inner fire. That fire is in you right now. Maybe it's been buried. Maybe it's been silenced by fear, by failure, by fatigue. But it's there, waiting for you to say, enough. Enough hesitation, enough excuses, enough playing small. The fire is waiting for you to act in defiance of your old self, to step into the role you were born to play, to become the one who walks into the storm without flinching, who faces the unknown with faith, who trades comfort for conviction. That's the person who becomes magnetic. That's the energy that moves mountains, that calls new circles into your life, that pulls once impossible opportunities toward you. That's the kind of person success cannot ignore. And here's what no one tells you. Once you become that person, you don't just attract success. You attract everything you were ever missing. Self-respect, peace, power, passion, purpose. And suddenly, you're not just working toward success, you're living it. Every conversation becomes richer. Every morning becomes meaningful. Every step becomes sacred. You don't chase happiness. You radiate fulfillment. You don't chase purpose. You embody it. And in that state, your energy becomes undeniable. So here's the question. Will you stay where it's safe or step into the signal of your future self? Will you let the world dictate your worth or become the magnet that pulls your destiny closer with every breath? The choice is yours. It always has been. There will come a moment, and maybe it's right now, when you realize the door was never locked. You were holding the key the entire time. It was never about having the perfect strategy or waiting for the right mentor or collecting every tool before you begin. It was about you. It was always about you, your belief and your fire, your decision. Because decision is power, not the kind that waits, but the kind that moves mountains just by existing. That's how empires are born, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in the heart of someone who said, this is who I am, this is what I will become, and nothing will stop me. And when that level of certainty enters your soul, the universe shifts. It rearranges the pieces. It begins to cooperate, because you're no longer trying to attract from a place of lack. You're attracting from a place of alignment. You're no longer chasing success as something outside of you. You're unleashing it from within you, and it feels different. You walk into rooms with presence. You speak with gravity. You move through life with rhythm and command. Why? Because you're not hoping anymore. You're knowing it. You're not negotiating with your calling. You're owning it. You're not whispering your vision in the dark. You're declaring it with fire. That's what draws people in. That's what magnetizes the moment. That's what awakens others, not just to your power, but to theirs. Because when you become a success magnet, you're not just doing it for you. You're becoming a lighthouse, a signal in the storm, proof that it can be done, proof that the path is real, proof that you don't have to be born into advantage to build it. And look around you. Everything great you see was once unseen. Every skyscraper was once a sketch. Every song that moved your soul was once silence. Every world-changing idea was once ridiculed, until someone brave enough, bold enough, magnetic enough made it real. And now it's your turn. Your turn to stop watching and start becoming. Your turn to stop wishing and start working. Your turn to stop hiding and own the room you were born to lead. Let your actions scream louder than your doubts. Let your vision speak louder than your fears. Let your persistence outlast every storm. You are not here to fit in. You are not here to be liked. You are here to become a force that cannot be ignored. And that kind of force, that kind of soul on fire, purpose-driven, immovable certainty becomes a magnet so powerful it pulls miracles into its orbit. People will ask, "How did you do it?" And you'll smile, because they'll never understand the work you did in silence, the weight you carried when no one saw, the discipline that kept going when motivation ran out, the belief that stayed solid when the results didn't show. But you'll know that you became magnetic not by accident, but by alignment, by owning the identity of someone who attracts greatness by being great, who attracts excellence by living with it, who attracts power because they've earned it, day by day, habit by habit, battle by battle. So now you stand at the threshold. Behind you, the old self, the one who doubted, who delayed, who drifted. Ahead of you, a life of fire, purpose, impact, wealth, legacy, a life that pulls the impossible into your reach because you finally understand you are not chasing success. You are the magnet. So walk forward now, head high, eyes sharp, heart wide open, because everything you've ever wanted is already on its way to find you. If you have the courage to become the person it's looking for, and you do, you always have. Now go show the world.